Hi, and welcome to NABShow Live. Today we have a very special guest, Peter Blatchford, Sales and Marketing Director at Starfish Technologies. How you doing, Peter?
Yeah, good, Ron. How are you?
Doing great. It's great to have you. We always love chatting with Starfish and what you guys have going on. For those that don't know about Starfish, go ahead and tell us what you do and how you got started.
Okay, so we're a software development company, and in recent years we've specialized in ad insertion regional insertion systems for broadcasters who want to offer alternative content generally. Instead of just offering a single channel, to make variations in that channel. And we've been in the broadcast TV industry now for a good number of years, servicing high-end broadcasters typically with software-based systems and solutions.
So dynamic ad insertion it's the way of the future when you're thinking of the digital revolution, what we're doing right now. Everything is, whether it's OTT or whatever. I come from the ad business. I worked for Omnicom Group for a long time. And so dynamic ad insertion is not anything that ad agencies don't know about at this point. It's a big thing. So let's talk about how that's evolved over the last, let's say, just 5 years.
Okay, so we are not directly involved in, it depends what you mean by dynamic ad insertion. We're not looking at ad insertion at a customer level. We're looking at it higher up the chain for a regional distribution and adding regionally appropriate ads, or replacing content, potentially even complete program replacement.
Right. So what I mean is, for example, from an engineering standpoint for the client, you're able to target different markets in different cities.
Exactly.
And back in the in the old school days, you have NBC television, for example. That one spot's going to go to the whole nation for the most part, and you have the ability to just laser focus it. I think it's just quite amazing. So another question, I'm just curious what you're showing off at the show. Do you have any new announcements or anything special that you're showing off?
Well, as I said, as a company, we're focused on manipulating broadcast streams. So as more and more broadcasters now distributing from the main broadcast site as an encoded stream, it's much more difficult to manipulate those signals than it used to be in the old SDI days. And so that's our focus. And the applications of the manipulation of encoded streams involve ad insertion, content replacement. And there's a lot of interest again from the US now in the EAS service and the ability to put that onto all broadcast channels, including regional feeds.
Oh yeah, sure. The emergency alert system is a big deal in the United States, and actually I'd never even thought of it from that perspective on an insertion point of things. So how does that affect you technologically in the back end during the development phase?
Well, as I mentioned, it's much harder to manipulate those signals once they're encoded streams. And we used to supply, and we still supply, systems based around SDI. But about 5, 6, 7 years ago, there was an obvious move and a number of inquiries from broadcasters in Europe and in the US to be offering this capability, but now on encoded streams. And so we set about developing a new generation of product that would perform these functions that were previously performed by hardware-based systems, and to do it all in software with all the flexibility and the performance benefits you get from a fully software-based system. And basically, we've got a next-generation product.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm thinking of this in my head, and off the top of my head, I'm picturing, you're basically having to decode a signal and then add something or change something in that signal and then re-encode the signal almost. That's what I'm thinking in my head, but I'm sure it's something like that, but more. Say it again?
Well, you can do that, and we do that in one mode of operation. Typically, you only really want to do that when you absolutely have to, and the reason you might have to is if you want to insert some graphics. Because if you're doing graphics or any form of overlay, that has to be done in baseband domain. So under those circumstances, you do need to decode the signal and re-encode. We do some clever stuff around that, but also just for content replacement, you can do it based around the and I'm going to get a little bit technical around the iframes, so around the got boundaries of the input stream. And we do a really good job of doing that technically cleanly. And that has a number of benefits, including you don't have to decode and re-encode. So we use an industry standard encoding algorithm, but even then you will see artifacts or potentially see some downstream artifacts from the encoding decoding process. So if you operate in a clean got boundary mode, which most of our customers do, actually you can avoid the decoding and re-encoding.
Very nice. It's quite interesting stuff. All right, now a super important question. I'm going to throw you for a loop here. Everyone that I interview on these shows, I'd like to ask, when you're in Las Vegas, is there a cool place you like to hang out at when you have the opportunity? And I know we're all working like crazy, right? So think about maybe a cool restaurant. Maybe you like to drive to Hoover Dam. I once rented a Mustang and drove all the way to Hoover Dam and saw it. I thought that was quite cool. But one restaurant recommendation from one of our readers is Il Milano at the Forum Shops. They went in 2019 and they said it was really good. You've got to have a place. You've been going to NAB for a while.
I've been going to NAB for a long time. If I was to be pushed for one recommendation, a place we normally go to nearly every year with friends is the India Palace. It's just off Paradise. The food is fantastic. Don't be put off from what it looks like on the outside. And it's not a place you'd want to take a date to, but the food is excellent, and we always enjoy it there. So India Palace, just off Paradise.
Excellent. Very cool. Very cool. I might have been there, actually. Peter Blatchford, Sales and Marketing Director at Starfish Technologies, all the way from across the pond. We're going to see you at booth SL5024A. That's SL5024A at the 2020 NAB show.